Central Valley Talk celebrates what's good about Fresno and what's good about the Valley. And our next guest has some good things to tell us. Gia Kazarian.
Correct.
Okay. I practice before we go on there people's names, and as soon as the cameras come on, I forget everything I've ever known. Right. Now, are you from the Valley?
I am. I am born and raised in Fresno. Nice Central Valley girl. I went to Bullard High School.
Bullard High, good.
Yeah.
And is Kazarian your
married name?
Married name. I was going to say, because there's a lot of Kazarians around Fresno and the Valley. And you have a consulting business, and you're an author.
No, I am not an author.
Okay.
I have a consulting business that I brought to Fresno. I went to school in LA, went to UCLA and got my degree in psychology. And then after UCLA, I went out to New York University and got my graduate degree in industrial and organizational psychology. And so while I was in New York, I came across this boutique consulting firm called First Impressions Consulting, and I'll explain what that is, but I just brought this New York-based company to Fresno not even a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how long were you at NYU?
2 years at NYU and stayed an additional 2 years and worked in the city.
Worked in New York.
Yeah, worked at
I asked because my son's at NYU in grad school right
great.
now. So,
yeah.
So music.
Yeah.
You chose a field where you're going to earn a living, though.
Yeah, we're trying, yes.
And so, did you work with First Impressions?
I did. I became one of their consultants at First Impressions Consulting. And a little bit about the business. It is written by 2 PhD cognitive psychologists, Dr. Ann Demery and Dr. Valerie White. And they wrote a book on all the social psychology principles that go into making a good first impression. And so what's unique about this business and this company is they take the material and the concepts and the theories written in this book and they translate it to real life. So at first they met in the executive world and leadership world where they would observe leaders and they would analyze them on how they communicated, how they came across, and a lot of these executives were very surprised on some of their blind spots that they had. And so then they thought, well, why not make this for everybody? Everybody could use this information. So what this business is, it takes these social psychology principles and translates it to real life. So as a consultant, I would meet with anybody who'd want some social feedback, whether it be a job interview, a business meeting, meeting a client for the first time, business client for the first time, or even on a first date. We'd actually have a simulated conversation as if it was real life. And then based upon the fundamentals and the principles that are written in this book, I give them on-the-spot feedback, give them some feedback on what they did really well, some blind spots, and come up with a coaching plan. And so that's one aspect of the business. And another aspect is teaching company or university seminars to big groups of people around the principles of first impressions, how that can relate to your business, how that can relate to your sales force, so when you meet a client or a potential client for the first time. And then I also offer one-on-one executive leadership coaching and leadership development, coaching on job interviews. So that's the whole
one-on-one.
One-on-one, yeah.
So they don't have to be a long-term client. They could just say, hey,
no. A lot of it's a one-time thing, or we build an ongoing relationship, or I go to a company or a university and speak to a group of employees.
Group of people. My mind is just flooding with people that could use it.
Right,
like, let's start with one. A salesman, let's say they have to walk in the door and do a cold sale. You got any tips?
Absolutely. Well, there's different fundamentals that go into it. The first fundamental is accessibility. What is your body language saying? What's your posture? Are you smiling? Are you engaged? Showing interest in somebody? Are you asking open-ended questions? Are you really wondering about the person and actively listening? So if you actively listening, that's a hot topic in our workshops these days. How do you actively listen? How do you actually get to the need of the client? And what's your conversational dynamics? What's your tone of voice? What's your conversational topics? So all of that can go into meeting someone for the first time.
You know, I have salesmen. We have a real estate firm and, of course, this TV station. I have salesmen come in every day, and I'm not going to talk to them. So it has to be a really good salesman to get past these forces I've set up, and me giving them the cold shoulder. They have to be really interesting.
Absolutely.
So
and they have to be interested in you as well.
And so you start them, you know, when you walk in the door, do this and this and this. And
absolutely,
say this
I give you feedback on what principles go into making a good first impression, and these can only help you if you engage in these principles.
Now, I was out with a friend who's a CEO, has a company, 15, 20 people, and he feels he's having leadership issues. He can't get people to jump on board and Could that be how he's presenting it or presenting himself?
Yeah, it could be how he's presenting himself. It could be how he's engaging his employees. It can be what kind of shadow is he casting? Is he welcoming or is he closed off? What kind of communication style does he have? There's all sorts of aspects that go into leadership and leadership development and how to motivate your team and how to get them to the next level.
Okay. And so somebody's been married for years, their wife's gone for whatever reason, they're going to start dating. Maybe they should get a session or two with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to get back into the real world. And, we're in a day of text messages and online and emails, but at some point, you do have to meet somebody face to face.
Well, wouldn't it be good just go and talk about yourself the whole time?
No, do not talk about yourself the whole time. A lot of people do talk about themselves the whole time, but that's a big faux pas.
They don't get a second date.
They don't get a second date, right? The key about first impressions is engaging the other person and making that other person feel really good about themselves.
Now, some people seem to have this naturally. I see people, I go, man, I wish I could carry myself like that person. They just know what to do.
Sure.
But anybody could learn it.
Absolutely. A lot of it is innate for some people, but for some people it's not. And that's what I'm here for, is to bring that to the forefront, to uncover some areas that they could enhance a little bit more. We could work on that. We could come up with some topics. We can come up with how do you enlighten somebody, for example. That's one of the social gifts, the universal social gifts. How do you appreciate somebody? So all these things, you bring it to the forefront of your brain and make it active and conscious and deliberate.
Don't just count on your instincts, especially if they're not working.
Sure, exactly. If something's not working, there's a reason why, and you can learn it, and it can be trained, and it can be fixed.
Because a lot of us, you've lived a whole life, you've developed habits that you could be bad habits, and you don't even know you're doing them.
Absolutely. People are they're not self-aware on some of the stuff that they're doing. It's easy to pick it out on other people, but when it comes to ourselves, it's really difficult to see ourselves in that light. And so as a first impressions consultant, I hold a mirror up to you and I say, look, do you know you're doing X, Y, and Z? Are you even aware of it? And if let's put some things in place to get you to that point.
Yeah. And I could see you going into a company and talking to a whole sales force all at once.
I have.
Or a company could bring you in and have them meet with their salesmen one at a time.
Absolutely. I can do group sessions where I talk to the whole sales staff or the whole real estate staff, anyone that would make a first impression. And then if one employee or two employees in particular need a little bit more individual help, we meet one-on-one, or I meet with their leader if they want to if that leader wants to increase their leadership skills and to push their team to the next level and to enhance their career to the next level.
Now, do you work with people who have to have personal contact, or would you work with people who do phone contact?
Anything. Absolutely.
Okay.
First impression. Yeah, with the phone contact, you don't have the body language to support your message, but you do have your tone of voice and you do have the words that you're saying. So you want to make sure those are aligned and that you are getting the message across in your intended way.
Yeah, I do find, though, when I am doing a phone call that I do adjust my body language to be taken more serious. I'm not sitting back with my feet on the desk or something. I sit up and lean forward like I would.
It all makes a difference.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is fascinating. Now, and I'm surprised you're the first person we've had on that does this. I have not heard of anybody in Fresno doing this.
Yeah, this is straight from New York City.
Straight from New York City. Imported the technology and talent and knowledge from New York. That is great. Now, do people buy this book?
Sure.
Or?
They can buy this book. You just buy it right on Amazon.
First Impressions?
Yeah, it is called, the exact title is First Impressions, What You Don't Know About How Others See You, written by Ann Demaray and Valerie White.
Okay. Now, I say this to people all the time. You can learn to do this yourself. Just buy the book. Or you could get somebody who spent 6 years in college or more years than I in college and who actually was trained in it with the company that does this, who's developed an expertise in it, and might be more expeditious to bring in a professional.
Right.
I tried to look up how to fix my plumbing the other day, and I finally it cost me more to have the plumber than if I had just called them in the first place. So call in the professional to your company. If somebody just wants to find out about it, where do they start?
They can go to the website, firstimpressionsconsulting.com, or you can email me directly, gia@firstimpressionsconsulting.com, and I'll get right back to you.
Now, there's a New York office, and there's a Fresno office.
Right.
Are there others?
Nope, that's it.
And it's just started here in California.
Yeah, it's a New York-based company, and I've been in Fresno. I've been in the workforce for about 12 years, and I just saw a huge need. I haven't seen anything like this around. I thought Fresno would really gravitate and grasp towards it. So I called my old boss, not even a year ago, and I said,
Fresno branch.
Yeah, what about me doing this? And she loved the idea. And she said, go for it. And It's doing great. I'm really pleased with the response, and it's people are really gravitating towards it.
Well, I tell you this, with all my years of college, nobody taught. They don't teach
Right.
you this. And then they push you out of college, and you go and you find you really don't have any skills. You know how to add pretty good and
Right.
things like that, but you just don't know how to present yourself and carry yourself. So anybody could use this. So go to the website, which is?
firstimpressionsconsulting.com.
Okay.
And you can email me at gia@firstimpressionsconsulting.com.
Yeah, that's easy name to
Easy,
remember.
yeah.
Firstimpressionsconsulting.com. Now, if you're watching at home or not watching at home, a lot of our viewers are at their desk working and
Sure.
trying to pretend like they're not listening to us, and they don't always get it down. So call me here. I'll put you right in touch with Gia at firstimpressionsconsulting.com,
Yeah.
and we'll get her over to your business to straighten some things out, straighten you out, or your workers out, or something. Everybody could use it. I am convinced.
Absolutely.
Didn't take
even
long.
the best can always enhance to the next level.
Anything else you want our viewers to know?
I'm just thrilled to be back in the Central Valley and giving back to my community, and thank you for your support. And first impressions are critical. You get one chance to make it your best one, because if you make a poor first impression, it's almost impossible to reverse.
Undo it, yeah.
Right, and so why not project your best self forward and make sure that you are aligned and you're presenting your best self.
Very good. First Impressions Consulting, Gia
Kazarian.
Kazarian.
Yes.
We'll be back with more Central Valley business right after this.